Good early afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you with thoughts of the day. Okay, remember how I said the loungers of the week now get something out of the deal? Nicholas is going to telephone me later, I believe. Pardon me. I'm sorry. And Jean wanted me to go over a subject. Jean and Nicholas and Benny Loco were all loungers of the week last week. And now you actually get something out of the deal. You get to, how exciting. I will speak on a topic of your choice in a separate video just for you. Oh my gosh, I know it's absolutely thrilling. What an honor, right? So I'm going to read what Jean wrote. I'm going to be pausing a little bit during this, but you can never tell. I'm the only one that can tell. And whatnot. I just made a stew, by the way. Just off topic, I made a stew, and I'm going to vacuum now with the normal vacuum from Mother. So right now I'm going to pause and kind of get my life in order, and I will go over Jean's answer, which I did do. I actually did a video about this 7 months ago. It's about unschooling. I believe she calls it deschooling. One moment, please. Okay, I have permission to read this, some of it, all of it, whatever I want to do. I'm going to casually, not read everything. But she said, Jean, this is Jean, our Costa Rica chica. As you may know, I have an alternative school for children/teens who need to be here rather than a traditional setting. My own children were all deschooled, and I'm completely confident about deschooling and its virtues. Would I be interested in doing a video about it? And she, like I said, she calls it deschooling. I call it unschooling. And she also hit on ongoing education for adults as well, and how it all ties together and being an open-minded, curious human being. I will do that, and then I will read a little bit of what she said. She was quoting a person. So right now I will tell you. Okay. Whenever the child became of age to go to actual public school, now, first of all, I don't want anyone to clutch pearls or take offense or think that I think you're terrible if you aren't able to do this, because a lot of people get very defensive over the way that, if they send their kids to public school and then somebody's here talking about why we did it another way. It's nothing against that person at all. I would never want to come on here, come on to this and talk about things that would be highly hurtful to other people. I realize not everybody can do this, ladies and gentlemen. The only reason we were able to is when I was married, I worked 3 days a week as a waitress, and my husband worked during the day. My shifts were 2 at night, 1 in the day on the weekend. And we were able to be here with the child. He didn't have to go off too much, even though I said the other day he went downtown to the babysitter. But I will tell you a little bit about what I think Jean means. I'm pretty sure. She calls it deschooling. I call it unschooling. And it's basically child-led learning. And how it works is the child, children are naturally curious about things. If you can remember back in your life, for example, about things that you thought about or you asked your parents or what have you when you were younger. And it's my view that some of that gets stamped out. It gets snuffed out. I can't think of the word I'm looking. You know me, I have trouble with words sometimes, but oftentimes this is not, they're not able to express this in schools, in public schools. Sometimes it's because they might be diagnosed with ADHD or some other thing, I think that is actually something that does happen. I'm not saying anything against that, but I think it's overly diagnosed. A lot of it is, I think, just pent up children being children. So what we did was the unschooling and the child-led learning, and we had to appease the school district, of course, and we had a really good evaluator who came in. She also had unschooled her own child, and she helped us to see how various things in everyday life can be filed into what many call subjects. So if Spencer helped me cook a meal or something and did some measuring, that could go in with math. Going on a nature walk might go into science, or going camping could go into different things. So basically what it's all about is child-directed learning. Whatever subject the child finds to be appealing, he or she will come to you, with it. And then you help them with the tools to be able to explore further. Now, mind you, Spencer was born, oh my gosh, I always get his year wrong, 1995, late in the year. And the internet wasn't as prevalent then, not for us anyway. We were kind of late bloomers. So a lot of the stuff we would have to go to the library to look up, or, look at a book here that we had in the house, or just talk about it, or try to do other things to ascertain what it's all about. So that's how that worked for us. And I'm not sure if I'm really answering a question. I don't want to make it too long. But she mentioned another person. Okay, I'm going to read this part. Fortunately for us, Leonardo, I believe she's talking about Da Vinci. Spoke about what Leonardo? Yes, it is Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, there are other Leonardos in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, this is a quote from somebody else about Leonardo da Vinci. Fortunately for us, Leonardo was also a very human genius. He was not the recipient of supernatural intellect in the manner of, for example, Newton or Einstein, whose minds had such unfathomable processing power that we can merely marvel at them. His genius came from being wildly imaginative, quirky, curious, and willfully observant. And I think that that kind of sums it up. It was our view that in a public school setting, which is really based on ancient Prussia and the way that they did things with bells ringing for classes to change, and it was kind of set on the model to get people ready for factory work. Things like that. You can look into that if you'd like. You can even just Google or look into unschooling. It can be controversial, but lately it's kind of caught hold. It was when we did it. It was more controversial. We didn't do school at home. A lot of homeschoolers do school at home, and they do it based on religious reasons. We did not do that. It was basically because, in our view, we felt that Spencer going to a public school wouldn't help him to explore the world as he saw fit. Sometimes it can rein in their curiosity, having to raise your hand and ask permission to go to the restroom or normal bodily function. It didn't appeal to us. It doesn't mean that everybody can do it, like I said. Also, in terms of teachers, I think I really respect teachers a great deal. And I think a lot of them wouldn't mind seeing something like this. In Finland, they have a model similar to this. They actually have the public schools, but in the classes, it's hands-on experiments, and the teachers are into letting the children play at recess. The children get to decide. One time they were putting a new playground in the school, and the children had a total say in how they did that. It's basically letting your child's curiosity roam free, and thereby allowing them to explore things that aren't even taught in schools, like Nikola Tesla. Remember, I told you before, for my new viewers, you won't remember, but I never heard of Nikola Tesla, until my son came to me when he was, I believe, 14 years old. He's now 22. I had never heard of the man. Now, that's not saying much. I was, kind of dumb. I'm learning every day. And that's another thing that she asked in her question was, as adults, how do I feel this plays in? It totally does, because I think most people are really self-educated. They just don't give themselves credit. They'll say, oh, I went to school, I went to college, or whatever, but most of them do explore other avenues. They look on the internet. They might be into different things that not everybody's into, like the UFO stuff or the esoteric jazz and all that. So I hope that explained the question on how I feel about it, why we did it, and what else? Hang on, let me just look. Well, she said something real cute, that my openness and curiosity about life are a few things that she thinks she sees in me without knowing me well. And that's the thing. I guess if I had to bottom line this, which I'm not very good at, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the unschooling, or what she calls deschooling, is that I think, okay, we did it for reasons so that our child could be curious and run with it and not be deemed to be insane. Okay? And also, he was in the Boy Scouts, and I know the Scouts are controversial for some people, but in our area, the leaders were really good. They're not like your stereotypical things that you hear about or what have you. And that really helped as well. He said his scouting experience was positive totally. He told me that the other day. So there were a lot of subjects involved with the scouting too, and when getting the different badges. So I think that's all. I hope I answered this. If not, you can go back. If you just type in to the YouTube search Lisa Hauserman unschooling, it'll bring up the one from 7 months ago. I guess that's all. Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you with thoughts of the day. And this has been a special presentation for Jean, our Costa Rica Chica, as she was Lounger of the Week. Bye-bye.